Diddy really screwed up. And I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. You know, Pac just had died.
So this one night, 50 called me up and, you know, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. We was talking about old time shit, you know, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, you know, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary.
Right before his legal problems exploded into headlines, Sean Diddy Combs had reportedly been documenting parts of his own life. Cameras following him. A photographer capturing behind-the-scenes moments. The kind of footage that celebrities sometimes collect when they believe they're building a future documentary about their legacy. According to interviews discussing the situation, some of that material eventually ended up circulating among producers connected to a project later linked to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And when the Netflix documentary about Diddy finally appeared, viewers noticed something unusual. Certain clips had never been seen before. That alone raised questions. But then the internet started asking an even bigger one. What else might exist that wasn't shown?
Audio from Suge Knight. It's from his podcast with Dave Mays. And he's speaking on, you know, Tupac and Snoop being cool and how, you know, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, you know, he also speaks on how, you know, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. Let's download right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey a little bit that, you know, this motherfucker telling, well, Pac going to everybody else. He brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these are dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa. Wait a minute, fellas here. Hold on. You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my people.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in and light it up and ride it up. We making this shit happen.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker that everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay. You know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion that, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. You know, we grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what? I probably ain't gonna come out, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird. It was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean?
At first, the attention was entirely focused on Diddy himself. The documentary examined his rise to the music business, his influence through Bad Boy Records, and the culture power that allegedly surrounded him for years. But as the online conversation grew louder, the spotlight started drifting somewhere else. Suddenly, social media threads began mentioning Snoop Dogg, not because he appeared in the documentary in any controversial way, but because of old industry connections and decades-long relationships that people began revisiting. And that's where things started to get messy, because once speculation begins online, it rarely stays contained.
I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from my deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door. Doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with your, what's up with your and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Cause we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him but I'm the type of person, I never been a bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem. I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do, but it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it. Like, I really felt in my heart, like, man, I can't.
Some of the renewed discussion pointed back to the complicated history of the 1990s hip-hop world, rivalries between labels, tensions between coasts, and of course the lingering shadow of the tragedy that took the life of Tupac Shakur. Over the years, different figures connected to that era have offered their own opinions about what happened afterward. One of the most controversial voices has been Suge Knight, who has repeatedly shared his perspective during interviews from prison. Knight has claimed that it felt strange seeing certain artists interact with people Tupac had feuded with. However, those comments remain allegations and personal opinions, not conclusions supported by official investigations.
A documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
See, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship
with Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool. Just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like,
well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his?
No, but he didn't pay for it. So essentially, they're calling it a payment error. Oh. So essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yeah, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this, and they went to the filmers and said, hey.
Other former associates of Tupac have expressed similar feelings in interviews, saying that relationships after Tupac's death sometimes looked awkward from the outside. But even those discussions usually stop short of making accusations. Instead, they describe emotions at the time, confusion, loyalty conflicts, and uncertainty about who is truly responsible for what. And here's the important part that often gets lost online. None of those conversations ever produce verified evidence connecting Snoop Dogg to any criminal wrongdoing. Yet when old clips resurface decades later, they can easily be interpreted in ways the speakers never intended.
Look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right. This guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else, and really what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is in fact rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on Diddy's.
After the documentary release, another layer of speculation appeared. A former security figure associated with Diddy began giving interviews hinting that certain details may not have made it into the final film. According to his statements, there were stories or perspectives that were allegedly left out, but he did not provide confirmed footage tying Snoop Dogg to illegal activity. Still, those hints were enough to ignite an avalanche of online commentary. Some channels claimed that famous figures might have been protected. Others suggested that certain names were being kept out of the spotlight. None of those claims have been verified through court records or official statements. But in the age of viral headlines, rumors don't need proof to spread.
Because he wanted them to, both Suge and Pac.
In the car?
They only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right, Corey? He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000. And that money never went to Keefe or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying I got your rapper's chain. Because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing is a recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just going to start making y'all disappear. Man, first I'm going to take your records off the radio. Then I'm going to erase your social security number. Take your birth certificate out flies. I'm going to do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million? Just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Phrase.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
One rumor that circulated widely involved alleged flash drives said to contain sensitive material connected to Kim Porter. A man named Courtney Burgess claimed he possessed those devices. According to his statements, the drive supposedly held recordings involving well-known individuals. But crucial context quickly followed. Porter's children publicly rejected claims related to alleged writings connected to their mother, and federal agencies have never confirmed the authenticity or relevance of the supposed files. In legal terms, unverified material does not automatically implicate anyone shown in it. Yet online discussions often skip that step entirely, jumping straight from suggestion to accusation.
Being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never fucking with her again, and I ain't never fucking with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, Suge made Puff feel like I'm going to get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason, he was mad at Puff. And Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It was no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I got to get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on him behind that.
And here's where things start to flip the narrative. Because despite the rumors claiming he had gone quiet, Snoop Dogg never actually disappeared. He continued posting online, promoting music, and running business ventures connected to Death Row Records. In fact, he even publicly expressed support for 50 Cent after the documentary gained traction. That detail alone contradicts the theory that he was worried about what the film might reveal. If anything, his reaction suggested there was no conflict between the two artists at all. But by the time that information surfaced, the rumor cycle had already taken on a life of its own.
Got out the gym, doing my workout box. Shug, you right. History would repeat itself. 'Cause, nigga, you wasn't the only nigga in the room, nigga. You wasn't by yourself. It was other people in the room, too. I'm not gonna say no names, because, like you said, we don't talk. So, why you on here talking? Let that go, man. And as far as Snoop and Corrupt writing my album, you ask them niggas that. Them niggas ain't wrote my album. Corrupt helped me with Do You See? Snoop helped me with This DJ. Other than that, everything else I wrote. So that's where you're wrong at again. And as far as the tough guy, do you recall when we was at the World Club and it said Death Row and NWA? Who fired on that? Me. When you was at the Comedy Store, fighting that little buff ass at the Comedy Store, who saved your motherfucking ass? Me and C-Style. So what have I done to you? For you to launch out at me? Look, don't get mad at me, man. I ain't never done nothing to you. I wasn't signed to you. So.
Meanwhile, 50 Cent addressed questions about the documentary directly during interviews. He explained that the project wasn't meant to be a sweeping attack on the entire music industry. According to him, the goal was to present stories that could be supported by testimony or documentation, not unverified accusations. He also pushed back against claims that the film was purely driven by a long-standing feud with Diddy. Instead, he described the series as an attempt to give alleged victims a platform while letting viewers see multiple perspectives. Whether audiences agree with that explanation or not, it highlights something important. Documentaries still operate within legal boundaries.
Of course. But they relied on stolen footage, okay, is what they relied on. And then they ask about the history of 50 and him, issue that they've had. What's the one you just pulled up, Rob?
This is where they talk about the feud, and then I also have 50 Cent talking about Diddy's reaction to the documentary.
Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. But watch this one here. Go ahead, Rob.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right? For 20 years, right? Is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester. Like maybe you'll come play with me type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
Yeah. I mean, so that's that part, right? The fact that the feud with the two of them, hey, let me take you shopping. Like you say that to a girl and 50 is like, what are you talking about? Take me shopping. How do you have a flipping mind? You want to take me shopping? And then last but not least, Rob, the other clip you have of 50 is talking about how he thinks 50 Diddy's going to like this documentary. Go ahead, Rob.
Sean Combs watches this. What do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
She can't even hold it.
Because you'll see people saying that. I mean, he may feel a different way about pieces and bits of it, but he knows the truth.
And that legal boundary is exactly what separates the situations surrounding the two artists right now. Diddy's case involved years of investigation, testimony, and formal legal proceedings before any conviction occurred. Snoop Dogg's name, on the other hand, does not appear in federal filings connected to those charges. As of December 2025, there have been no indictments, no confirmed investigations, and no official accusations against him related to the claims circulating online. That doesn't mean people won't continue debating the past. But in the legal world, speculation isn't evidence.